I was out with someone like 2 days ago, and we were in the city, and she was like, "What do you want to eat?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'll eat whatever." And she was like, "You aren't making any decisions." Like she was like, "You're worse than like a girlfriend because you're not picking at all." And I was like, "It's because I prefer to save my brain making capabilities for other things." But I honestly just didn't care. And then she finally picked. And I was like, I actually don't like subs, so let's not eat there. Let's go somewhere else.
So let's take that situation. Let's contrast that. A restaurant that, based off of all its data that's collected about you from other restaurants, you just pull in and it gives you the perfect meal. Versus you go with a friend, and like you go back and forth. You have this conversation. You're joking, and like you end up with food you don't like. Yeah. Which one's better?
Okay, if like let's say I knew technology was my friend, right? Then in this situation, technology would be my friend. Mm-hmm. It's a friend who's recommending me the perfect meal. Yeah. But the technology is not a real person. And I don't know the intentions of the people who are coding the technology, right? Because they're not sharing my data so that the restaurant knows, like, they're not sharing the data so I have a better restaurant experience. They're sharing the data so they can make money. So just off of those intentions, I'm like, I don't know, that's not good. And then also, it's gonna sound like kind of crazy, but I like the idea of like suffering, or at least suffering for something. Because like when my friend, like with the meal, I didn't care about what I ate, which is why I didn't want to suffer through making like the decision, right? And so when she brought up the sub place, and I was like, okay, I don't like subs, so this is something I'm willing to suffer for. Whereas like, same with like movies, I enjoy movies, so I like watching good movies, but if I just consistently watched 10 out of 10s out of 10 out of 10s, I don't even think I would appreciate movies. So it's because I've watched the bad movies that I'm like, okay, this is a really good movie. And so I feel like you have to at least have like that hint of suffering to know when you're experiencing something good, you know?
Man, that was really deep, man. Yeah. There's a lot in there that you just said that is so against like not only our natural instinct, but what like society often tells us, right?
Yeah.
Because it seems like we always want easier, more convenient, like more to our taste, more personalized, right? That's why all this technology thrives so much. And yet you weren't like, of course I want the restaurant to pick what up. There's all this other stuff there, right? There's layers.
It sounds good, but I don't think... You guys know, I think his name is Robert Nozick. He's like this philosopher, and he has this thing called the experience machine. And so it's like this machine that you plug in, and you can experience like, and you like, to you, this is like, that becomes your reality, and you believe like whatever, you can program any experience, like, and you can live like, you can become like an Olympic athlete, you can become the best chef in the world. And then like the whole point of what I'm trying to get at is he ultimately decided that most people would decide to not plug into this machine because people want to actually they want to do something, not just experience doing something, and they want to be someone, not just experience being someone. So I think that's very similar here, where if I'm just like, because if the robot is like guiding all my decisions, it's like, this is the car you're gonna want, this is the food you're gonna want to eat, like this is basically the life you're gonna want to have. I'm like, how is it making these decisions? Yeah. Like if it decides like the next 3 years of my life for me, then it makes further decisions based off of those 3 years that it created, and then it keeps streamlining my decisions. I'm like, it basically just manufactured the rest of my life from a certain
taking away
point.
your free will.
Exactly.
Wow. Speaking of free will, watch our free will episode where we talk about the implications of that. Yes. But wow, yeah. There's something about real life that isn't about making everything easy or better, quote unquote better, right? Like you use the word suffering.
I'll use the word friction.
Yeah. Friction? Suffering is a very like, it can describe a lot of things, and like like I think there's a time and place for it. We can maybe do an episode on suffering, but like, yeah, you wouldn't say, oh yeah, that person who like lost their family is suffering. Oh yeah, that's good for you or something like that. But yeah, like you mentioned that going against like having some friction or like some difficulty, that makes life like worth living. And like, it's not about like, oh, because I grow or like I'm a better person even. It's just like,
that's the stuff of life.
That's just life, right? That's just life.
It's more real that way.